So I knew this girl once that graduated from UC Davis with a degree in statistics. And like most new graduates, she sent out a whole bunch of resumes hoping to get any kind of offer. And she did get an offer from a kind of small marketing company in the Midwest. And they needed someone with a knowledge in statistics so that they could measure their marketing efforts and understand whether or not they were having any results or not. Because as they were doing things, they were kind of haphazard and they didn't really know whether or not they were wasting their money or not. So they flew her out for an interview and she went through the interview and they hired her and she moved to this small town in the Midwest. And she had never really lived on her own in a small town. She had a lot of friends in the city where she grew up, where she went to the college, and so she was kind of worried about making friends in this small town. So she was kind of in the mood or the idea or the mindset of just trying to join groups and join clubs, and she was always out looking for kind of ways to network on a personal level to make some friends. And one morning she was walking through the park and she saw these old elderly people, maybe in their 70s or 80s, doing some qigong, and they were in like this perfect circle. And what was amazing so much to her was that as she watched them, their movements were perfectly in sync with one another, and they had their eyes closed. And she was kind of transfixed, kind of mesmerized by how perfectly in sync these people were, not looking at each other. And she had seen people practicing qigong before in the park, as probably you have. And a lot of times there's a few people that are experts and there's a few people that kind of don't know what they're doing, so they have to kind of watch other people. But these group of people that she watched, they were just perfect with each other. And when they were finished, one old woman came over to her and said, "Why don't you join us?" And my friend said, "Hey, this is a perfect opportunity," even though she was pretty young and they were all in their 70s, but still it was kind of a cool way to get to know people and have something to do in that very early morning before she went to work. And so she started practicing qigong with these people, and pretty soon she realized that it was one of the most centering, meditative, very peaceful experiences she had ever had. She had been raised a Christian and she had gone to church a few times when she was younger, but she never really achieved that sense of peace that a lot of religious people achieve. And she achieved that while she practiced that qigong with these people. It was just amazing. And so she came every morning for 1 hour, and it was also amazing how quickly she picked up all the different moves. It was almost like she was became like outside of herself, or she became part of this kind of collective consciousness where they just all kind of moved in sync. But then after a while, she started having trouble at work. She had trouble concentrating, and she started having these just terrible, terrible nightmares, just kind of incoherent, but just a deep feeling of fear. And she wakes up and can't really imagine or remember what had just happened, just that it was terrifying, and she could barely catch her breath. And so, but she kept going to these qigong things every morning, and eventually it got so bad that her boss said, "Hey, look, your 6-month review is coming up, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure if we made the right decision, because you seem to be having a lot of trouble, and the work you're doing for us is not really helping us in our marketing efforts." And so this woman my friend was just kind of worried. So the only person that she really knew were these people in this qigong group. And so the next morning she had qigong, she asked one of the women, she says, I'm having all these problems, I'm having all these nightmares, but I feel fantastic when I'm doing qigong. And the woman looked at her and said, "That's very common, to start to do something and then wonder if you're doing the right thing, because as you begin to move up to the next level, you start to have a lot of internal resistance. And it's important that you simply just break through that resistance and continue to do what you've been doing." And she said, "Well, that makes sense, but what do I do exactly?" And the woman said, "Well, we're having an initiation ceremony next month. And it's a special ceremony, and I can't really tell you what it is because you have to kind of experience it for yourself. And I promise you, once you go through that ceremony, everything will kind of click together and everything will make sense. And so my friend said, well, that sounds good. Will the nightmares go away? Yes, they'll go away. Will I do better at work? Yes, you will do better at work. And so my friend said, fine, what do I need to bring? And she says, just show up 6 hours earlier than normal. Now, normally this Qigong practice starts at 6 a.m. And so, of course, 6 hours earlier means at midnight. And it was the next Saturday. So my friend shows up the next Saturday at midnight. And all of these Qigong practitioners were standing around in a circle with these hoods on and these robes, these very dark red robes. And they had one for my friend. And so she put one on and she joined in. And she had kind of built herself up mentally to be prepared for anything. And so she was a little worried at first, but she said, whatever, I'll just go along with it and see what happens. And so they got together in this group. They started chanting. Instead of doing Qigong, they were starting to chant. And one of the members brought out this young person, and they put this young person in the middle of their circle, and they started chanting, and my friend was kind of starting to really want to go home because she was starting to feel really, really worried about what was going to happen, but she couldn't leave. For some reason, she felt like trapped in the circle, like that consciousness that she felt part of, that kind of collective consciousness that she felt part of before, that felt so good, was now trapping her. And the old woman who was standing next to her turned to her and said, don't worry, this is the last bit of internal resistance. Once you get through this, everything will make sense. And so she said, I didn't really have a choice. So she just kind of stood around in a circle, and she was chanting along with these other elderly people, not even knowing what she was saying and not even really being able to control herself. And this young person that was this whimpering and crying and begging to be set free was in the center of the circle. And this young person was suddenly on fire and just howling and screaming. And my friend kept chanting and chanting and chanting. And finally, the person died, and they stopped screaming and howling, and the body kept burning, and pretty soon there was nothing left of her body but ashes. And then it started raining, like really hard rain, and it cleared away all the ashes, so there was nothing left. And once the rain stopped and the clouds opened up, then my friend realized that it was a full moon, and this had been some kind of initiation ceremony. And she told me that that old lady, the old woman, was right, that after she went back to work, everything was perfect. She started getting promoted, the nightmares ended, and she felt a sense of peace that she had never, like a constant peace, not just the once daily peace that she found at the Qigong practice. She found a sense of daily peace that was ever present. And she always has to go to these meetings in the morning where they practice Qigong, and every once in a while, they have to go through that ceremony, and she thinks it's a good, a reasonable price to pay to achieve that peace. Now, she didn't really tell me where they get these young people from that they sacrifice every couple of months, but I just wonder. And I haven't talked to her in a while. The last time she told me this, I just kind of figured I want to maybe keep my distance from her.